The silence that descends when a fundamental trust is broken is louder than any accusation. It is the sound of an internal edifice collapsing, the echo of a history suddenly rewritten in a colder, harder ink. For anyone who has ever felt overlooked, whose value has been silently negotiated down in the ledger of a family's affections, the word better is a knife twist. It does not just wound, it implies a fundamental, irrecoverable flaw in one's own being. This story, the currency of silence, Ava's betrayal and the price of being better, begins not with a shout, but with the quiet, chilling finality of a father's gaze that confirms a daughter's worst, long-held suspicion. That her very stability was her primary weakness, her hard-earned savings merely a resource for the more potential of another. The raw, immediate shock of that dinner table confession, "We spent your savings on someone better," is a narrative fulcrum, a point on which a system rests or turns, a vital center, designed to electrify, to charge with emotion, to thrill the viewer's empathy, drawing them into Ava's internal battleground where years of suppressed feeling finally ignite into a conscious, decisive action. This isn't just a tale of financial theft, it's a profound exposition on the epistemology, the theory of knowledge, especially with regard to its methods, validity, and scope of self-worth within a family unit. A universal theme that resonates deeply with the human need for recognition. Ava's journey is a masterclass in the slow, agonizing process of finding one's voice, a crucial component of advanced English communication. Her early life is a study in tacit, understood or implied without being stated, communication, where silence was mistaken for acquiescence, the reluctant acceptance of something without protest. Historically, the concept of the dutiful daughter is deeply ingrained across cultures, often mirroring the societal expectation for certain groups to be seen and not heard, to maintain the harmony of the whole, even at personal expense. This mirrors the historical context of early women writers, like Jane Austen, who often had to navigate a world that valued their domestic utility over their intellectual or financial autonomy, forcing them to find subtle, yet powerful, ways to critique the established order through their narratives. Ava's decision to fold herself small is a form of emotional self-abnegation, a quiet sacrifice, the act of giving up something valued for the sake of something else regarded as more important or worthy, that her parents exploited. The gradual accumulation of her savings, each dollar a physical manifestation of her diligence, careful and persistent work or effort, served not just as a financial safety net, but as a silent, burgeoning argument for her independence. When that money is appropriated for Noah's potential, it becomes a symbolic act of erasure, a public declaration that her realized stability is less valuable than his untested possibility. The narrative skillfully employs juxtaposition, the fact of two things being seen or placed close together with contrasting effect. By contrasting Ava's thrift store furnished, independently rented apartment, a symbol of her gritty self-reliance, with Noah's sleek, expensive, and unearned laptop, a symbol of unfettered, released from restraint or inhibition, privilege. This visual and conceptual opposition powerfully underscores the injustice. The true betrayal, as Ava perceives, is not merely the financial loss, but the systematic, almost philosophical way her parents rationalize their actions. Their use of "you're stable, you're fine" is the ultimate gaslighting, manipulating someone into questioning their own memory or sanity, a twisted compliment used to minimize her pain and justify their theft. The discovery of the loan paperwork, however, marks the Rubicon, a point of no return. It transforms a family dispute into a conscious, illegal act, shifting Ava's emotional state from wounded resignation to righteous indignation. This moment, fueled by the cold clarity of the documentation, becomes the catalyst, an agent that precipitates or accelerates a reaction, development, or change without itself being affected, for her complete transformation from the silent, accommodating child to the sovereign adult. The immediate aftermath of the discovery and the preparation for the confrontation function as a profound lesson in the power of marshalling to gather and arrange resources, people, or data, evidence, and the critical role of intellectual and emotional support. Ava's reliance on her friend Lily for emotional validation and, more crucially, Grandpa's quiet, steadfast support illustrate that personal growth is rarely achieved in isolation. Grandpa serves as a figure of authentic, uncorrupted wisdom, the antithesis of her parents' flawed and transactional morality. His recognition that a family that loves you doesn't use you as a resource cuts through the sentimental fog of familial obligation, providing Ava with the moral compass, a natural feeling that guides a person to act in a right way. Necessary to navigate the ethical quagmire, a soft, boggy area of land that gives way underfoot, a difficult, precarious, or entrapping situation she faces. The historical parallel here is one of legal literacy and self-advocacy. For centuries, marginalized individuals, often women or those without property, were beholden, indebted, under obligation to the interpretations and goodwill of others. Ava's meticulous documentation, the statements, the dates, the withdrawals, is her act of claiming legal and financial literacy, competence, or knowledge in a specified area, a modern form of taking control. In English learning, this segment offers an invaluable teaching moment, the shift from passive, emotional language to active, analytical language. Ava moves from internalizing hurt, passive voice, to collecting evidence and formulating a plan, active voice. This is the linguistic power of agency, the capacity of a person to act in any given environment. The decision to stage the confrontation during the family dinner, specifically when Grandpa is present, is a brilliant strategic move. It ensures witnesses and a powerful arbiter, a person who settles a dispute or has ultimate authority in a matter. The atmosphere of that dinner, staged, like they were performing a version of family we didn't actually live in, is a narrative reflection of the pretense and deep-seated dissonance, lack of agreement or consistency, that has defined her life. This entire sequence is a slow burn build-up to the climax, where intellectual preparation meets emotional necessity, proving that the most effective acts of resistance are often the most documented and strategically timed. It teaches the viewer that true empowerment lies not just in feeling anger, but in directing it with precision and irrefutable fact. The pivotal dinner scene is the zenith of Ava's journey, a moment of profound personal vindication, the action of clearing someone of blame or suspicion, proof that someone or something is right, reasonable, or justified. The emotional intensity is meticulously constructed, reaching its peak when Dad delivers the chilling rationale, "We spent your savings on someone better." The subsequent, immediate use of the documents, laying the evidence on the table like an indictment, a formal accusation, is a powerful rhetorical gesture. It strips the parents of their narrative control, forcing them to confront the concrete reality of their exploitation, rather than hiding behind vague notions of family support. Grandpa's intervention is not a rescue, but a strategic affirmation of Ava's evidence. His voice, described as ice, carries the weight of moral law, transforming the familial space into a courtroom. His statement, that does not make her less deserving. It makes her exploited, is the philosophical core of the entire narrative, instantly refuting the dangerous and pernicious, having a harmful effect, especially in a gradual or subtle way. Belief that self-sufficiency negates one's right to protection and fairness. The language here is sharp and precise, offering excellent examples of advanced vocabulary for the English learner. Words like exploited, deserving, unavoidable, and consequences serve as powerful rhetorical tools in a high-stakes debate. This scene beautifully captures the emotional texture, the perceived quality or feel of something, of a family system in crisis, where the privileged Noah is confused, the perpetrator, Dad, moves from arrogance to fear, and the passive accomplice, Mom, is exposed. Noah's unexpected, quiet apology, "Ava, I'm sorry. I didn't know," is a crucial moment of redemption, the action of saving or being saved from error or evil, suggesting that the system of favoritism was not just corrosive to Ava, but to him as well, preventing him from developing authentic empathy. The moment when Dad finally says, "Fine, we'll return it." All of it is the sound of an imposed boundary being accepted, albeit grudgingly. Ava's final act of gathering her folder and leaving for the first time in my life, leaving didn't feel like running away. It felt like stepping into the life I finally chose is the ultimate expression of autonomy, the right or condition of self-government. Historically, this resonates with movements for personal rights where simply documenting and asserting the truth, despite the powerful forces of tradition or authority, was the only pathway to freedom. This segment demonstrates that true power lies not in vengeance, but in the unwavering assertion of one's fundamental human rights, backed by irrefutable truth. The resolution and its aftermath provide a nuanced, emotionally honest conclusion, refusing the simplistic comfort of a wholly reconciled family. The return of the money, marked by tense installments and no message attached, no apology, signifies that while the financial wrong has been physically undone, the emotional and moral chasm remains. This is a vital philosophical lesson. Some betrayals leave indelible, not able to be forgotten or removed, marks, and healing is a process of adjustment, not erasure. The quiet support from Grandpa continues, a steady presence that functions as an emotional buttress, a source of defense or support, emphasizing the importance of choosing one's family beyond mere blood relation. Noah's gradual attempt at reconciliation, "I'm trying to do better," introduces the complexity of family dynamics, suggesting the possibility of growth for the beneficiary of the abuse as well, who must now learn to live outside the false scaffolding of his parents' favoritism. The central teaching of this final chapter is the definition and establishment of a boundary, a line that marks the limits of an area, a limit of a subject or sphere of activity. Ava defines it perfectly. A boundary isn't a wall. It's a line that reminds you where you end. This is a profoundly modern and psychologically sophisticated understanding of self-care and respect. Her continued visits, but with a different relationship dynamic, illustrate that she is not running from her past, but merely setting the terms of engagement for her future. The final message is one of personal sovereignty, supreme and independent authority. Ava has built a life on her own terms, one that her parents don't get to rewrite or borrow from. The story concludes by connecting Ava's specific, personal struggle to a universal axiom, a statement or proposition that is regarded as being established, accepted, or self-evidently true of self-worth. It transforms a narrative of financial and emotional abuse into an inspiring message of empowerment, urging the audience to recognize that demanding respect is not a flaw, but a fundamental right. It is a powerful affirmation that the hardest conversations are often the ones that lead to the greatest personal freedoms, and that the currency of silence is a debt too high to pay.